So we are going to start with the personal questions of Annie. This is the third episode of the AFA podcast.
It's not a podcast either.
It could be.
It's also the same episode.
Well, let's hear it, Annie.
Number 28.
The legacy video.
28.
28. All right. What has been a challenging situation you were faced with, and how did you deal with it? This is from Bobo/David. I didn't know you could join up on questions, David.
Talk to Amanda.
Well, I think probably the most challenging thing I had was the divorce. And I thought that I had strong faith, but it was nothing. But after that I developed a closer relationship with Jesus and really kind of knew what that was all about. And the girls and I have frequently said, we wish this had never happened, but we wouldn't change the people we've become because of it. So I think my faith is what pulled me through. Plus, the girls were all hurting so much, and I didn't want to do anything that would add to that. So I just had to buck up and do what we needed to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, number 27.
This is the one after 26. Thanks.
When your mind just goes on autopilot, what are you finding you seem to be thinking about most these days? From Lisa.
Okay. Well, I just think since we've been doing Annie's auction and going through stuff, I've just really been flooded with memories and realized how blessed I have been. Just in every situation. And it just thrills me that somebody wants my stuff. And I've got the best looking garage. We should have probably taped out there because it's cleaner than anything in here.
We'll add that to the B-roll.
So,
Oh, nicely done.
but I just think that's a lot of it. It's just, and I like to sit on my deck. Nature does something for me, and just to sit out there. And now it is, we've redone the deck, and it's not cluttered up with stuff, and you can really just go out there. I just like to just sit. I can just sit and do just, I'm not really thinking. I'm just kind of,
Is that part of your daily routine?
I like to do that, yes, I do. But I'm just so thankful for all of you and everything and how things are going. So,
Awesome.
Anything else to add, David?
Nope.
All right.
number 34.
All right. This is from my mom, Becky. What are the qualities you look for in a friend?
Well, I think loyalty is a big thing. And somebody who knows all about me and still loves me, knows all I am and all I'm not. And somebody who's fun. And I have a friend I have a couple of friends that maybe you don't see them for a long time, but you just kind of pick up where you left off the last time. And I like to read, and I like talking about books that I've read with somebody else or a movie that I've seen.
Are there any movies lately that you've been
No, I
interested
haven't
in?
seen any lately.
Oh, that's a cute.
We're kind of on the Monk series right now with Carrie.
And who is your longest friend that you've had, that you're still friends with?
Wow. Well, I have a friend, Diane Benalia, that I went to high school with, and we still talk. And then Papa has a cousin, Diane Hemmingson, that I was in high school with. And actually, Diane Benalia was a friend when I was in grade school. So,
Cool.
and when you're almost 80, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. In our class, probably our high school class, maybe between 60 and 65, there were 12 couples that got married within that class. And most of them stayed around Missouri Valley. A lot of them were farmers. And I just cannot tell you how they look after each other and take care of each other and check on each other. Now, some of them may have moved to Omaha, but they're not, they're just a lot of them, the ones that are still living, that are right around there, and they just keep track of each other, and I just think that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever miss being a part of Missouri Valley?
Oh, some, when I hear about things that are going on. It was just, of course, Barb and I just think it was kind of an enchanted time. It was just sort of, kind of a part of another world. We just
Yeah.
did a lot of things together, just simple, simple things. Okay, number 35.
This is from Matt. What was your first car and the first car you learned to drive on?
Okay, my first car I think I bought when I was 49.
Oh,
We
okay.
we just didn't buy,
So what? Where you
and
rent?
it was I don't remember what year it was, but it was an Oldsmobile, and Pa was selling cars, and I had that old white van, and then I got that, and so I learned to drive probably in a '52 Chevrolet stick shift on the golf course. That's how much confidence Pa had in me, just on the fairway.
So the real question is,
You bought a car when you were when you were 49.
Yeah, because Papa and I had a car together, but I meant on my own.
I see. Okay. Okay.
But it wasn't like when you were 16 or went to college. We just didn't. Papa had a car, but I didn't have a car.
Right. Okay.
So,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
all right, number 32.
32. What fills you with the most wonder? From Christina.
My family. I am in awe of all of you. I just cannot tell you how proud I am of all of you and what you're doing and what God has planned for you. And really, I just think a lot of my faith has been encouraged by what's going on with members of my family and how you handle situations.
Mm-hmm.
You have great parents.
Is there a specific moment from one of your other family members that really created that wonder or created, like you said, more faith? Is there a specific memory that you...
Well, let's see. Well, I think right now what John and Carrie are going through and how they're handling that. John is not letting any dust or grass grow under his feet at all. He's just out there pursuing and looking. And Carrie was just here 3 weeks and got a job. And, I just think we just have to do what we can do and then just trust God to do the rest. And I can see that in all of the family, and everybody's had ups and downs, and how supportive everyone is of each other. And that's one thing that we've talked about the auction, is just how we're kind of having an interaction with each other. And I don't know if my expiration date is coming soon or not, but it just, usually when people give stuff away, it's after they're gone. And this has been just such a joy to tell you something about it, or to see who wants what, or why they want it. And I know why you wanted floor mats, but some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very glamorous. This is
And I might have a washing mitt.
I
on the
know.
way.
I'm
Really?
so excited about that.
My car is
yeah,
even
we all
brand new.
thought that was not.
Let's
gonna be
move on
fun.
to number 41.
This is from Amanda.
Oh, I like this.
Have you met anyone famous?
Yes. Carrie's laughing. Well, the first person I didn't even know was famous was Lenville Elliott. You ever heard of him? He played for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Oh,
And when I was a high school librarian in Richmond, Missouri, in the mid-'60s, President Johnson started the title money. So I was the librarian, and the language arts, science, and math teachers and I were paid like $12 an hour, which was a lot of money then. And we had the school open, I think, 2 or 3 nights a week. And my black students couldn't go to Teen Town. There were a lot of things that they still couldn't do. And so Linville was one of them. They would just come to the library and we would just sit around the table and talk. Also, when I was the librarian, this is a little off the subject, but they would come in and say, Mrs. Miller, I have a book report due and in a couple of days. So Mice and Men was very popular. It was the smallest book in the library. We got several copies of it. So so Jim Ryan, and then Ned Ryan on Fox News. I knew him when he was little, but the girls went to Jim Ryan's running camp. So, and I think that's. But I'm sure some of you are going to be famous, and I can say I knew you when.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, number 25.
If you could do your life over again, would you change anything? This is from Carrie, who is also seated in the room at the moment.
I think the only thing I would do is I wished I'd become a follower of Jesus before I did. Growing up, we went to church and we did all the right things and we thought we were Christians. We just weren't really believing Christians. And so that didn't happen to me really until we had a lay witness mission at our church. And that's the first time I ever really heard somebody get up and give a testimony, because we just didn't do that in the in the Methodist church. So that was a big turning point, but that was just the beginning. And now that I look back, even though I had more of an awareness, I still didn't have that personal relationship because we didn't have anybody to disciple us. We didn't even know about that. So I think that's my only thing that I would change, that I wished I had, because I just think it would have made a difference in our family, in our marriage, well, and just in our life in general. But we were good people, and we thought we were going to go to heaven on that until my daughters told me it didn't have anything to do with that. So
Now, how did that conversation go
well,
from your daughters?
Carrie, as I recall, Carrie and Lisa had been to a camp. So they must have been about 5th or 6th grade. And they heard the gospel. We just didn't talk about that. And they said, I think it was Lisa that said, her friend Shannon said, if you die today, will you go to heaven? And I thought, if you're good enough, you will. And then Lisa said, she said that doesn't have anything to do with it. And really, that was the first time I'd ever heard anything like that. So really, it was because of them that seeds were planted in us to know that there was something more. And then they went to some really neat camps. They went to Jim Ryan's camp and learned more. And I think for years, I kind of just went on their experience, but everybody has got to have their own experience. So
when did you become a Christian?
Well, we accepted Christ at that time. Probably that would have been in 73 at the lay witness mission. But I didn't really have an understanding of it until after the divorce, and I went to a different church. And I was baptized again. However, the girls have all been baptized 3 times. I've only been baptized twice.
But who's counting?
Yeah. So I just think once I went to a different church, I was around different people that really made my faith grow and I was in some small groups and things, so.
Wow.
Good?
Yeah, we're speechless. We have.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a
Sure.
great answer.
All right, 26.
Did I do the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say you boys aren't quite as quick as the girls were, but that's okay. I'm enjoying every minute
Oh.
with you.
Well, we may slow this down a little bit more.
It's really getting the weeds here. This is from Carrie. Who are your heroes?
Well, I would say, first of all, my family. They just encourage me, you all encourage me and just inspire me. And then growing up, I think I've told you about Jane Addams. I just was fascinated with her. And also George Washington Carver, who went to Iowa State.
Yes.
Go Cyclones.
Yeah. So I think those are, but my family really does inspire me. And even though they don't wear capes, they do in my eyes.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Oh, gosh. Who was my favorite superhero? I don't know. I don't know that I have one.
Okay.
We
Is
can
that
just disregard that question.
Kind of curious.
That's a good question.
That was. I don't even know any who's superheroes.
Like Superman or Batman or Aquaman,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Well, I am acquainted with
Wonder
Superman.
Woman.
Moving on to 29.
29. All right. This is from Gretchen. What word do you want your life to radiate the most?
Love would be it.
That's a perfect answer.
I know we don't have any follow-ups on that.
24.
This is from Carrie. What have been your favorite TV shows over the years?
Oh, good.
Okay. Well, I told you about Howdy Doody. That was a favorite one when I was little. And I think growing up, well, there were a lot of variety shows like Sid Caesar and Imogene Coca, and Ed Sullivan. Those were some of the old ones. I did watch a lot of Blue Bloods, which is,
Oh, nice.
but then I got into Cardinal baseball, and so that took precedence. So I may have to go back to Blue Bloods because we're done.
Oh, that's true. And
So-
Tom Selleck, he's a classic.
Oh, and I do like Hallmark movies. I'm getting to be more like Nana. You know, when she moved to, what was the name of that?
Glenwood.
Glenwood Place. And you know how she liked to watch Texas Walker.
Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
Good old
And
Chuck.
so we were looking at her little apartment, and Sam real quietly says, "Do you think they have the Hallmark Channel?" And they did, so it was good.
The day was fine then.
All right, number 44.
Oh wait, it's my turn. I forgot. Is there anything you can tell us about our family
Oh.
tree that we don't know? And
I
this
am
is from
so glad
Amanda.
you asked, because when Bobo was here the other day, she's done a lot of genealogy. And my dad's grandparents came from Germany. I can't remember exactly what the name of the town was. But we have a creeper here. But anyway, they came to America in 1857, and they landed at Ellis Island, and they came on the ship Amelia, which is Riley's middle name. So we thought that was really, and his name was Johann, and her name was Frederica Jacobi. So really, my grandmother was born in the United States, but some of her siblings were born in Germany. So I'm really just the second generation to be born in the United States. So that's a little piece of history.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
But we
Wow.
were
good one.
thrilled to know
Yeah.
that, because we like the name Amelia, but that was the name of their ship. And if you want to know any more, Bobo has a lot of stuff on them. Number 30, please.
This is from Gretchen. What was your favorite adventure, and are there any others on your bucket list?
Well, just out of high school, I told you I wasn't good at typing, and so there weren't that many things that women could do really when I graduated. You could be a teacher, a nurse, an airline stewardess or a secretary. And I wasn't prepared to be a secretary. So the summer before I went to college, I moved to Omaha, and I moved in with a Jewish family. We were called summer school girls. And I had a little kind of apartment in the basement. I had like a sitting area and a bed and a bathroom. But I was the part of their family. And it was just really neat. I'd never lived in a house that had a dumb waiter. And it was kind of a different lifestyle for sure. And then when Papa got out of the service, they gave him a job. They owned the Hertz Rent-A-Car in Omaha. So that was kind of an adventure. And I had my own car and ran a lot of errands for Mrs. Goldstein. She would save them up from year to year. So I was with them for 3 summers. And that was really a neat experience and an adventure. And then another one, I think when we went to the Olympics, that was an adventure for sure. We say the girls, of course, I told you that I'm the one that's kind of put the damper on things, and Bob was saying, oh yeah, let's check this out. But they had seen a show on television, and it talked about the Olympics, and they said, oh, the Olympics are going to be in Montreal. And I said, well, kind of, so what? And he said, why don't you do a little research and find out about it? How do you get tickets? And so we found out, and one of the cooks at school gave me a big pickle jar, and everybody did all kinds of things. Like Lisa started cutting everybody's hair and anything to save money. And I think that year for Christmas, everybody got a new sleeping bag. And so in 1976, we went to Marshalltown and picked up the McBrides, and then went on to, I think we went to Maine and Lake Placid before, and then we went to Montreal. And we only had tickets one day for the actual Olympics, but somebody told us to go to the practice field for track and field, and so that we would take our big LL Bean bag and get French bread and make sandwiches and go. And they got some wonderful autographs like Ronaldo Nehemiah and Harvey Glantz and Francie LaRue, and that was just a neat experience. And so we were gone maybe a couple of weeks, and then we came back to Marshalltown, dropped Barb and Dick's family off, and then we went to Grandma and Grandpa Miller's, and just outside of Omaha, and we were headed to Idaho to one of Bob's conferences. And Becky said, I've had too much people. So she stayed, and we went on. If we had just gone a little bit further west, we could have said we'd been to coast.
Wow.
But we were gone almost a month. And I remember coming home. We didn't eat out, I don't think, at all, but we ate pizza someplace in Nebraska at Godfather's, I think it was. And then when we were in, what is that really neat place in Wyoming? We were camped, and we got up in the middle of the night. I can't think what it was. Anyway, and drove all the way back to Iowa, kind of when the trip is over. So going to the Olympics was a big adventure as a family.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there anything else then on your bucket list?
I don't think so. I'm pretty well satisfied right now, and it's going to take us a while to go get through Annie's auction, so we're just going to concentrate on that for now.
Sure.
I apologize to interrupt you. Was there another question?
I was going to say the same thing.
Oh, well, look at us.
Well, it was written
Great
on the card,
minds.
so I'm glad.
Well, how about 39?
39. Lucky number 39. Oh, I'm struggling right now. They're so close together. All right, here we go. This is from Amanda. What do you think has been the greatest invention in your lifetime?
Well, there have been a lot in 80 years, but I'm telling you, the iPad and the cell phone, because it's just amazing. I got the iPad when Monica went to Africa, so I could communicate with her, but I just couldn't believe you know, you can communicate with people, and then the cell phone to call. And I can remember one of her first calls, she called for the chicken pot pie recipe while she was in Africa. And then, especially during our time of isolation, everyone was so good to FaceTime or text or things, and I just think that's been a wonderful way for, anyway, our family to keep connected. So, but there's been a lot of, I think about medicine and everything, but for me personally, on this particular day, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
43.
This is from Amanda.
Well, she asks a lot of questions.
She does. Is there anything you're proud of yourself for doing that no one knows?
Oh, great question.
I really can't think of anything.
I don't know if that's going to be an acceptable answer for us.
Yeah. I'm going to have to press on this one.
I may have to get back. I really,
What about something someone does know about?
well, it was a big deal when I went back to graduate school because school was just not real easy for me. And that was a big decision. But all three of my daughters lived in Columbia at that time. And so they were very supportive. Caleb, your mom got me a parking pass at the BSU so I would never have to look for a parking spot. And when I was taking, and I took 9 hours that very first summer, but if I had been studying something and I needed children to try it out on, I would go to the Furmans because they had the children there, and
Perfect
so
guinea
they
pigs,
did a
yes.
lot of things. If I wanted to play with a baby, I would go to the Hughes because Monica was a baby. And if I just needed adult conversation or peace and quiet, I would go to Becky and Greg, had just gotten married. I would go to their house. But that was when I went to sign up, and I just poured my heart out to my professor that I really didn't know. And she said, I'm going to retire in 2 years, and I want you to be done. So I did, and then my dad got to see me graduate, and then he died the next January. So, but that was something that I'm proud of, but I had a lot of family support for that. I remember I didn't know anything about a computer, and typing isn't my thing. So the first time I had to write a paper, Becky said, we'll go to the computer lab. Well, I didn't know anything about that. And she kept saying, well, do you like that? And I said, well, let's say this or this. I said, we are wasting so much paper. How much is this going to cost me? And she said, Mom, this is part of your student fund, your activity fund. Well, I had no idea. But everybody helped me get through that. So.
Well, thank you for digging deep on that one.
Oh, all right. You're welcome. You guys would be good commentators. 38.
All right, 38. What do you think has stayed the same about you your whole life? What do you think has changed? And this is from Amanda.
Well, I've always loved people, so that has changed. And for something that's different, I think I've gained more confidence in myself.
That just come with time.
And different experiences. So.
Good.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that makes the cut.
Yeah.
All right.
Confidence.
36.
This is from Heidi. Did the 70s have a special feel to it, or was it romanticized?
Well, I don't even remember too much about the 70s.
Why is that?
I was busy having, the kids were involved in things, so I really don't know how to answer that.
Okay.
So.
That's fine, because to me the 70s seem like a typical decade, but maybe to some they're romanticized. Go ahead, Caleb.
I'm with you, David. Number 37.
All right, here we go. These are so out of order now. All right. If you could go back
Gil,
This is how it happens.
you want me to do it?
No, I can handle it. You gotta do it.
I don't know if Amy's ready.
Oh my.
If you could go back to any age, what would it be and why? And it's from Amanda.
Amanda. She was afraid we weren't going to have enough questions, I think. Hey, you know what? I am really happy right where I am.
Okay.
I just have a lot of peace about where I am right now and what's going on within my family, not necessarily the world, but I'm happy right now. So,
No age that you think, oh, I'd like to live that one more time. Or,
we did have fun in high school. It was just a neat group of people that we just did so many things together, and that was really fun.
Okay.
But life was just simple and not complicated, and so that was good.
okay.
Okay. Boy, somebody has little paper here. 31.
I can do this.
You can give it a try.
We're going to give you another try.
Thank you. This is from John.
Oh boy.
What was your first road trip without your parent?
Well, Barb and I belonged to a group called Job's Daughters. So I think maybe I was a junior and so she was a freshman, and we took the train from Omaha to Kansas City and stayed in the Mulebach hotel. So that probably, and then another one that I thought of was the first time I went out of town with Bob and my friend Karen Alger and Bud Piercy. We were going to the Iowa State girls basketball tournament in Des Moines at the old building, and they had a blizzard. And I mean, everybody was we were just frozen. And so we had to stay overnight. So I had to call my dad, and I'm sure he checked the weather to see if this was true. But I mean, when we went home, the drifts were almost as tall as the car. And we did Barb was playing basketball. They weren't in the tournament, but they had come. And so we found her and the coach, and we all got to stay together. And
At the coach's house?
no. I mean, nobody could leave the auditorium.
Oh, you slept the night in the auditorium?
Yeah.
Oh.
Cool.
So
With
everybody.
like a
I
bunch
don't
of
know if
other
I'd say
people?
cool.
Yeah. I don't know what year that was. It probably maybe was 56 or 57.
At that time,
Wow.
were you scared or were you enjoying time?
Well, we were having a great time, and in fact, had spent most of our money, and then they say nobody will be leaving. We're thinking, yikes. So, but then it turned out
It's
okay.
like a humongous slumber party.
Yeah, it was.
saying.
It
That's
was. So
not
I
a bad
think
thing to
about
be a part
that.
of.
Yeah.
Whoops! I took two at once. Sorry about that. 42.
What are you most thankful for? From Amanda.
Oh, I thought you said for Amanda. Most thankful. Oh. Well, I think I'm probably most thankful for Jesus and my faith. And I'm so thankful for my family and the time we've had together. We've had some really special time. You know what? One time, all of the girls lived in Columbia. And after the divorce, they wanted me to move there. And for some reason, I didn't. And I'm so glad now because none of you live there. But I think one reason, I went to school a lot when, the children weren't there. And I just thought, I don't want to be driving because, I'm not too fond of driving back and forth. So I didn't go. But I am thankful that I know Jesus is my personal Lord and Savior, and my faith, and for my family, and that I live in this country, and the freedoms that we have. When I walk in the morning, I think, oh my gosh, I'm in fairly good health, and I can get out and do what I want to do, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
Number 40.
What would you say were your talents, younger or now?
Well,
By Amanda, sorry.
I'm glad you submitted questions. Well, Papa and I used to sing a lot, and he had a driver's license before I did, and my parents let him drive our Oldsmobile, and we took voice lessons in Omaha through high school. So that was one thing.
Are we open to a demonstration at this time?
I don't think so.
We got you mic'd up, Annie. You might as well go.
Well, we'll do that another time. How will that be?
All
But
right.
I don't know if you know who Andy Williams is, but Papa did sound a lot like Andy Williams. He was really, just had a beautiful voice.
Who did you try to
I don't know.
Whitney
that
Houston,
I-
maybe?
I
Barbara
don't,
Streisand?
I don't think so. So, and now I think I love having people in my home, and I've hosted a lot of small groups in my home. So I think hospitality, and I just younger and now I'm just interested in people and love people.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
Yeah.
okay, and the last one is 33.
Don't blow it.
Okay, I guess you'll keep doing that until I read the question. This is from Greg. What was your first date like?
Oh, I like how we're finishing this off.
I can even remember what I wore. So I was a freshman, and I went with Papa, and I don't know what you would call them now, but at our park we had what we called a pavilion, and it had, a wooden floor, and then it had those windows. Well, that looked like really more. They were shaped like a door, and they opened up like this for it because we didn't have air conditioning, and I went to a dance, and I wore a pleated skirt that was gray and yellow, and I had a yellow cardigan, and then down where the buttons are, it was fabric from the skirt. And it was a dance, and I'm sure I had on penny loafers, and I would have had shiny pennies in my loafers, and I probably had on white bobby socks. So it was a dance.
Wow.
We're missing the main point, though. Who was your first date with?
Oh, Bob.
Oh, of course.
I picked him out on the first day of school, remember?
That's true. I
Instead of
forgot to
Melvin
read my
Pickens.
notes.
So maybe you missed that.
Yes, but that's okay.
Okay. Any other personal questions?
Was there any more details about the dance or the?
I don't. Well,
Other than-
well, you had records.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't a band or anything like that. So, and I don't know why it was there instead of at the high school. We used to have what they called sock hops, where you took off your shoes and just wore your socks and
Oh, cool.
danced.
I
Sounds
like that
comfortable.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing it right now.
Yeah, without socks.
Well, any more questions? From
That's
you,
all
David?
I've got. Okay.
That was awesome.
Cool. Good job, Annie.
Yes.